My name is Tasneem. I'm the senior manager at 98 percentile in the HR department. And today we did a wonderful drive with XLR. It was amazing right from the very beginning, from the very first day when I got in touch with them till today. I think it was an extremely smooth journey with them. There were multiple follow-ups done by the representatives in order to check that we would be, what time we would be coming, how many people would be coming, what vehicle we would get. To that extent, they were so precise in giving all the information to us. It was extremely great to get associated with them and have a drive at XLR campus. So we are very, very happy that we got a chance to do this. Now, coming to the students, what XLR had, I think they were extremely enthusiastic. They were well prepared. They were aware of what they are coming for. I think there was some back-end preparation which they did that was commendable. They also were very confident and they were open to any kind of, thing we were asking them to do. That was the best part. Now, I really hope we have a very, very fruitful association with each one of them and XLR in future. We are really looking forward to have many more drives like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi Sharma and I'm the Senior Project Manager for IT Department at 90th percentile. So today we were here for this IT bootcamp, right, this technical drive and at XLR. So it was a great experience and I would feel that the students, they are the freshers, right, but it doesn't seem like that. So if I talk about their technical and cognitive ability, they all seems pretty good in that and that's what I felt. And I guess they have been taught pretty well at XLR, so that's how they have performed good in their aptitude and the technical tests. So I wish them all the best and it was a very great experience over here.
Hi, this is Patan, Technology Consulting Manager from 98th percentile. We visited XLR for the campus placement drive and it went very well today. Miss Ambika, Miss Pragati, everyone received us greatly here and we had a lot of enjoyable time here. The students even had great experience with us. They were interactive, they had good aptitude and all the technological skills they showed. I think they were all well and we really appreciate their time that they spared to us and I think we will be doing a great job. We are expecting a lot of people to be hired from them. Let's see. it was a great experience altogether.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From entering into the cyber tower to exiting out of this tower, the XLR team has been received me with such a care and pleasure.
I am the part of this XLR since 4 months. From the third month itself, they have conducted the placement sessions from the third month itself, and this is the fourth month, and this is the 98th percentile is one of the placement drive I have attended so far, and attending to this drive is such a good experience for me. All the HRs and the team made us feel very comfortable and confident.
XLR helped me a lot, and I experienced a lot of things today. So I'm really hope to be placed in that company. I'm confident about that. Thank you.
This was my first association with XLR. I had got a call from Miss Shubha, and we fixed a drive here. Today when we came here, I was not expecting much, but the hospitality was too good. Staff is quite cooperative, and it's like a happy-go-lucky kind of a environment here when it comes to XLR people. When it comes to candidates, yeah, we have got few candidates, and they are all agreeing to all our terms and conditions, and I hope they join the organization and work for us, and I'm expecting long-term association with XLR people, with more recruitments or more collaborations with them.
XLR has been a good partner for us because we found some of the candidates were excellent, and we wanted people with good business experience, not only just the Java or whatever full stack development or whatever they were being trained on. They were also people with a good background knowledge, and whom we have really shortlisted, and we assume that they are going to make a good career in BusyBrains.
XLR arranged our placements for the BusyBrains company. I felt good. I hope that it will be positive for us and change our lives in IT sector. So thank you, XLR.
Hi, my name is Revant. I joined XLR's course of data analytics. While the course was going through, the faculty were very good. They were guiding us really well, and they were providing in-depth insights of the industry. We were taught the latest things. We were taught what the industry needs, and after that, post completion of my course, we were going through a live project where we were facing real-time scenarios, and we were encountering all those scenarios which we would be encountering in a job. We completed the project, and we got through a certification which stated that we got a data analytics certification from XLR, and after that we were placed in mock interviews, and they also gave us how the interviews are and how tough they are. The interviews were really good, and post completion of the mock interview they started placement drives. Today is my first placement drive in a company called Busy Brain. I really want to thank XLR for providing me this opportunity, and I'm really hoping to see much more opportunities in the future. Thank you, XLR.
When I came into XLR, the learning experience was very good. Today there was the interview session from Busy Brain's company. The interview session went extremely well. I got to learn many new things. Thank you, XLR.
So I'm here to do a campus drive. I'm coming from a company called Dotline. I deal with HR and operations, and unexpectedly I got a call from Ashwin sir. So he was saying about XLR solutions and the way he approached us, saying that the candidates will be trained as per our requirements. So digital marketing was the immediate requirement. We have gone through the interview process. It was quite excited to see good number of talent pools in XLR. We could shortlist couple of them, and we have given some placements as well, even both for the full-time as well as internship. So overall, our experience with XLR is nice, and we look forward for a long-term relationship with XLR and the excited team. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rupesh, and I work with Dotline as a performance marketeer, and I've got about like 15 plus years of experience. So today I happen to come here for the placement drive. Rightfully matched few profiles based on the requirement that we had. I'm so happy that XLR did a great job in terms of getting the pool of talents out and training them, and lucky that we are here so that we got the right match and we were able to get it. And thank you so much, XLR. Thank you.
So hello guys, myself Mohammad Tarhib. I am a graduate from aviation background, and then I thought of doing my course in digital marketing. So then XLR was the best opportunity for me. I took out digital marketing from them, and then I enhanced my skills in digital marketing. They offered me a campus drive in a company called Dotline. They gave us 3 days of good session for student development program, wherein they gave us a good opportunity of learning whatever the skills is required for the interview, for us to enhance our skills and then perform well in interview. So yeah, after the interview went well, and I have got selected in Dotline designs right now, and I am excited for the opportunity coming up.
Hi, I am Pinky. I did my MBA in HR. How I got to know about this institute is through Google. And then we got a wonderful trainer whose name is Asar. He used to give theoretical ideas, and for this interview, we had a prior 3-day session for just brushing up all the requirements needed to attend the interview, which is again a wonderful thing from XLR team. So I had a good experience in attending the interview session for Dotline company. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Am I audible to all of you right now? Can I get a quick confirmation? Am I audible to all of you right now? Hello everyone. So let's first talk about the last class. In the last class, we study about the collections in Apex programming language, where we talk about the particular set, map, and list data type or collections in Apex. And we also see how we are going to perform different types of operations on set, map, collection. Today we are going to talk about operators in Apex programming language and constants. So let me just share my screen, and then we are going to just start. Is everyone able to see my screen right now? Okay. So right now we are going to see today operators, and we are going to talk about operators in Apex programming language. Like how many operators were there and what type of operations we are going to perform in Apex programming language. But before moving to operators, first of all, what I need to talk about you is a keyword name constant. In Apex, we have a keyword name constant. So what is actually constant? See, sometime what happened, we are able to change a variable after some time. But sometimes we don't actually want to change the variable. So let me just show you what I actually want to tell you. So let me just open the debugger console first. Let's remove every code here from. Okay. So first of all, what I am talking about constant keyword. So constant keyword is a keyword which was used for defining a variable constant. So if we created a keyword using constant, then we are not able to change that particular thing. So in Apex, if you want to create a constant variable, what you need to use? You need to use the final keyword. The final keyword was used for specifying that the particular variable is a constant variable. So how this is going to work? First of all, before creating a variable, you need to name it final and create a variable and then whatever data type and then the variable name. So let's try to do this. So here if you see, I'm going to create first a variable named decimal. So let's suppose I'm going to create here a value decimal, a decimal type of value, pi. And pi is going to be something which I want to specify in this program. So right now I'm going to specify pi will be like 4.56 and here I'm terminating this line. So now pi will be decimal value which was going to store 456. And if I just print this thing, we are going to get the value. So if I just write here system.debug, and if I just print this pi, we get our result. And this is simple. But what happened if I just change this value from 4.56? Because right now this particular variable is actually not a final variable. So if I again call this thing and if I try to change this value, it is possible. But if I use a final keyword here, what I use a keyword final, then this is not possible. And this will become a constant variable. Now, in constant variables are those variables which we actually don't want to change in our particular programming language. So now if I done this thing and if I again here want to change the value of pi to something else like a new value like 56.25, and here if I click here execute, I'll get an error. Final exceptions. Final variable has already been initialized. Means we are not going to change this thing because final is already initialized. But if I remove this line and try to again change this, let's see does this work. Now this is going to work because the variable was already created and we just render the variable and change its value to something else. Now if you don't want these things to be happen, we are going to use the final keyword to make a particular variable constant which is not going to change in this programming language. Now suppose I created a variable like this. Now I have a question to all of you. Now am I able to change this variable here? Now is this code going to throw an error or it was going to work? Is this code going to throw an error or it was going to work properly? Can anyone tell? If I execute this time, here you can see I've created a final variable. And now after creating, I'm initializing this value. So now can anyone tell me I'm going to get an error or I'm not going to get any error? Okay, so no error, very good. Everyone, I have a request to all of you. Please try to send the message to this device. Let me send a message on this account. Please send your messages on this account which I send you a message. Please send all of your message on this account. Yeah, very good. We are not going to get an error because we just simply created a simple variable or you can say a final variable, but we will actually don't pass anything this time. We will actually create an empty final variable or empty constant variable. And here we are initializing this thing. So in this place, we are not going to get an error. So if I click on execution, we are not going to get an error. If you click on debug only, we are getting two values because first time we are getting null because we created a particular, you can say final variable or constant variable, which was actually not storing something. That's why we are getting here null. And the second time when we created or initialize the value, we are going to get our result. So this is how your constant keyword was going to work. And sometime in programming language, you don't want to change some value. At that time, you are going to use this final keyword. Okay. After final keyword, after this thing, let's go to the next topic. Yeah, let me just make commented final keyword. Let me just make it all a line of comment all. And here it was. Okay. So now we are going to talk about operators this time. So in Apex programming language, there are different operators. Like other programming language, the same way Apex sir is decimal data type is for decimal value, or we have to use float. See, you can use decimal also, you can use float also, you can use long also. There will be no any problem. But remember what I told you in the starting. I have a problem. It's not getting executed. You need to click on execute, then it was going to execute. You can use decimal, you can use float. It depends on you what you want. Sometime when the value is and the decimal is too small, then we basically use decimal. And if the value is decimal point is a little bit more big, at that time we especially use float. And long, as you all know, long is used for particular when the data is like a variable which was not going to contain decimal value. So you can use anything which depends on you. This is a basic data. Now after this, let's talk about the operator in Apex programming language. The same way in Apex or other programming language, we have some data types also. Now let's talk about all the data types in Apex programming language which we are going to study today. So let me just start. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. So now there are different type of data operators in the Apex programming language. And what is the meaning of operators? As you see, there are different type of operators. Like in the first time here, you can see we are actually using a equal or equal to operator multiple times. And like this equal to operator, we have also multiple operators which we are going to use for different type of purposes. Like we have an operator name. Basically, the second operator you can say is equal to operator, which is going to assign a particular value to this program. Just give me a second, guys. I'm just coming back. Then we are going to start. Just give me a minute. Is everyone able to hear me?
Sir, actually it's echo.
Sir, is my voice clear right now?
Now it's fine, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so sorry for the delay, everyone. So let's start our topic. So what I'm telling, I think you are also not able to see my screen. So let me just share the screen again. Okay, so what we are going to talk about, we are going to talk about the operators, in particular Apex programming language. So in Apex programming language, we have different operators like assignment operator, addition operators, and other operators as well. And these operators are going to perform some operations on particular, you can say, methods, functions, and these are very useful in many times. And we can use these operators multiple times when we are performing different type of operation. So the first operator is equal to operator. As you all familiar with this, we use this operator to assign a value. For example, if I created an integer here, for example x, and if I put equal to 5, then this time what was going to happen, this equal to operator is going to assign the RHS value inside the LHS. So here this is the variable which is pointing a location in our computer memory or in our Salesforce heap, and this value was going, or the variable or the data which will be 5 is going to store in this particular data space or the memory space, and we are going to use this x to use that value or initialize that value in our program. So equal to operator is basically used for performing, you can say, initializing value from RHS to LHS. After this, the next operator we have is addition operator, or you can say simply addition operator, which will be a arithmetic operator. Now what we're going to as addition operator do? So let me just first live here, assignment operator, assignment operator. Okay, after assignment operator, the second operator we have, let me just comment this line and copy this whole thing. After assignment operator, the next thing I have is basically a addition operator, and you can say these are basically arithmetic operations. Arithmetic operations, I think all of you familiar with it already, that it was going to perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, and other things. So the arithmetic operators in Apex we have is the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and these are all very simple. So here you can see in the first time I will just create a variable name x is equal to 5. Now I'm going to perform first addition operator where x is equal to x plus 5. Now I have a question to all of you. Can anyone tell me what is the output I'm going to get for this result? If I print this, what is the output I'm going to get? If I print this x this time, here you can see the first we have x and then we are adding x into 5, and x is already 5, so we are going to get a value of basically 10. Yes, very good. Now because those, okay, I think we get error. Okay, so someone said that we are going to get an error. Let's try to get, yeah, we are going to get error because the system spelling is wrong, that's why we are going to get the error. So let's make it correctly. Okay, so this time we are not going to get error, and let's try to execute this, and we are going to get a result the same way as different. And this is also a very simple operator which we simply understand. After addition operator, the next operator which we have in our particular arithmetic operations is the subtraction. Same way, we are just going to copy this line 3 more times, and here 1 more time. In the place of this time plus, I'm just going to print here minus. Here this time it will be multiply, and this time it will be divide. So now if we see this result, we are going to get 4 results for 4 different type of things, which will be a basic calculation result. We are going to see here for result of 5. So here we are going to get different results for different type of things. Now after the assignment operators or arithmetic operators, we have new operators or some very important operators. and which will be your increment or decrement operator. Now, arithmetic operator is simple because it was not very tough. But the main problem here is come the increment and decrement operator. Now, increment operator is sometimes very confusing because if we directly jump to the loop, sometimes we are not able to understand the increment operator properly. So suppose if I want to add a single number like x is equal to x plus 1. So what it was going to do, it was going to add a single value in x. And if I just print this using the system.debug, what I'm going to get, I'm going to get x plus 1, which will be 6. So if I just execute these two lines, click on this and execute highlighted, variable, okay, actually variable, so variable, okay, I need to execute everything. Okay, so if I execute this thing and I'm come on debugger console here, this time I'm going to get a result for 6. But instead of doing this, I'm going to use the assignment or increment operator. So I'm not going to use this. Instead of a simple way, I'm going to use an increment operator. Now in increment operator, it is very simple. We just need to write like this, x plus plus, and this is done. Now x plus plus basically means that we are incrementing the value of x this time here to 1. So x plus plus basically means you are going to increment your value of x by 1. So now if I try to print this using system.debug x here, I'm going to get the same result without actually writing the whole thing. And this is very useful when we are performing loops. So now if I click on debugger console again here you are going to get the same result again, the same way. Now this is the simple thing as increment operator. The same way we have a decrement operator also. Can you send the code? Okay, I will also send you. Okay. After this, the next thing we are going to should I x minus, yes, very good. The next thing we have is the decrement operator. The same way we have the increment operator, the same way we have a decrement operator. Now how this decrement operator was going to work? The same way you write x plus plus, what you are going to write x minus minus, and it was going to become a decrement operator, which is just simple, which was going to reduce the x value by minus 1. So if I write x minus minus and try to execute this time the code was executed again successfully, and if I click on debugger, here we are going to get 5 because see, x is the variable here and every time the variable was changed. So when I perform increment, x will become 6, and then when I perform decrement, x will again become 5. So in this case here you can see we are actually not using here x is equal to 5 every place because x was changing every place. So that's why we are not able to do this. Now after this, let's go to the next operator in our Apex programming language. Let me first send all these codes to all of you. Let me write here a comment, passing here a comment. That this will be your increment operator. Increment, and this will be your decrement. So let me just send you all the codes in the chat box. Yeah, you can for division. Yes, the sign we are using is for multiples. Yes, you can use it. Now after this, the next thing we have is the new more operators in Apex programming language. After the increment and decrement operators, we have some more operators also. And now these are adding assignment operators and some other things. Just give me a second, guys. Now here we have a more operator. Like in the first time you see we are using increment operators. But right now I have an interesting way for adding two things. We have addition assignment operator. Now what is actually this adding assignment operator or addition assignment operator is? So if you come on the first place, here you can see if I want to add x into 5, like this time here you can see what I did, x is equal to x plus 5. But I have a better way to do the same thing through the addition assignment operator. So how this was going to work? I'm going to write like this, x plus equal to. Now this x plus equal to is the operator, and we can say this addition assignment operator. Now what this addition assignment operator doing here? Let me first just put a comment here that it was the addition assignment operator. addition assignment operator. Okay, now what this addition assignment operator is actually going to do? If you all see this here, x plus equal to 5 means that x plus 5 and then equal to means it was going to store this value here. So when you see these two values, you are not going to confuse what was here happening. So if you see these two values, what was going to happen? Here we are going to perform operations on these two values according to these two values. So first we are going to perform x plus 5 and then we are going to perform the second operator, which is x is equal to 5. And we are first time when you perform x plus 5, it will going to add x plus 5. So right now x is 5, so it will be 10 and then it will just simply print x. So right now if I click here on system.debug x, we are going to get our result 10. So if I click here on execute, here our code was executed again successfully, and if I click on debugger section only here, this time we are going to get 10 here as answer. Now the same way we perform this addition assignment operator, we have subtraction, division and multiplication also. So let me write all these things. So first what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this line and paste it 4 times more. Control V, Control V and then Control V. So the first time I'm performing addition. Now let's try to perform all the other things. Control C. Here after this we are going to perform. This will be subtraction. After subtraction, the next thing I'm going to perform is basically here a division operation. After division, the last thing we need to perform is multiplication operators. Now, as a programmer, I need to ask you all of a question, or as a coder or as a software developer, where you are going to use these type of operators or these type of operations in a real life project. So if you are working on a real life project, I have a question to all of you, where you guys was going to use these type of operators and where it was going to work. Can anyone have any idea where we are going to use these things? In a real application, where you think you are going to use these things? Does anyone knows the answer? Okay. Calculator. Shopping malls. Okay. Shopping malls. And where? Yeah. We are going to use this maximally in loops. To perform the conditions. Okay. Banking system. Calculations. Okay, so those students who are answering banking system is get the right answer, because these type of operators was maximally used in banking, and sometimes we actually don't want to write the whole equation. That's why we created these type of operators, which was going to make our work a little bit very small. So after this, we have these basic operations which we have performed. So if you see here, if I click on debuggers only, here we are going to get our result again on the same way for everything. Now after this, we have some operations, and now we are going to perform these operations on something else. Now after these operators, are we are able to perform these things on a string also? So we are going to try to perform some operators on the string and see what happens. So the first operation I'm going to perform is concatenations using the plus operator, which I think already you all of know that how this was going to work. So first of all, if you want to print something like, let me create two strings first here. So I'm going to create two strings. A string, this will be v1, v equal to store, going to store something like hello. And let's create a new string v2. So control C, and here we are going to perform the new thing. And now this was going to say, hello, how are you? So now I have two strings, and we are going to perform the operations on these strings, some operations on these strings. So the first operation I'm going to perform is a concatenation operation, which I think we already see in the previous video and earlier video. So if you want to do this, you just simply need to write the system.debug, and then this time, actually, okay, wait, I have two same variables, so v1 will be good. Here, what I need to do, first I need to write V and then plus V1. When I done this and click on execute this time, I'm just going to execute only these things. So no, not that, only these. So if I click on execute highlighted, here you see, okay, wait, on line 38, column 30. Okay, actually here I don't put a termination. Okay, click on execute highlighted. And here our code was successfully executed. And now if I click on debugger sections, here we are getting two things. But if you see here, what I'm getting, hello, and here we don't have actually a space. It was like, hello, how are you? So what I'm going to do to put a space here. So the basic way to put a space is here, that either you need to give here a space. So let's try to give here a space. If I give here a space, does this going to work? How many of you think if I put here a space, it was going to work? How many of you think if I put here a space like this, is this going to solve this problem, like just make a difference or make a space between this hello, how are you? How many of you think? How many of you think work and how many of you think it was going to not work? No, I'm not asking about errors and work. I'm just asking, was it going to give you an error? Okay, very good. Not work. Not. Yeah, very good. So basically you have two way. Either you can do two things. First, what you are going to do? Either here you can, in this hello, you can pass a value like this. This is going to work. So let's try to this and see does this work or not. This is the simplest way if you do want to do this. So now if I click on execute again and click on the debugger console, here we are able to see this time it was done. And the second way for doing the same thing is, after this V plus, what you are going to do, you are going to put a double quotes here like this, and inside you need to pass a value or something, and not double quotes actually, sorry, single quotes, because we are actually passing a string here, and in this string I'm actually passing a space. After this I'm again going to use a plus, and this time if you don't put here an actually space, this is going to work properly. So let's try to execute this line only, and it will work again. And if we click on the debugger consoles this time, here we are going to get the same results. So what was happening here, we are actually creating one more string in the system debug after this plus, and here in this string we are passing a space, so it can give a space between these two one, so v plus v1. So now this is the first operation we basically perform using on a string, which is the addition operation. Now the same way we are able to perform some other operations for the string also. Now after this we are going to come and see some other operators in particular Apex programming language. Now let me just send this code to all of you, then we are moving to the next thing. Okay, so let me send this code to all of you. Okay, after this, what we are going to use next, we are going to see the next program, which will be Boolean operator. So now what is Boolean? A Boolean operator is either going to give true or either it was going to give a false value. So basically a Boolean variable has only two things. Now, I have a question to all of you. Boolean is actually a variable, but do you guys know where we are going to use these Boolean operators? Because in Apex programming language or in other programming language, we have some operators which only use Boolean type of things. So do you guys know where we are going to use these Boolean operators? Does anyone have any idea where we are going to use these Boolean operators? I'm sorry, these Boolean variables was in Toogle. Toogle? Toogle, okay. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so basically if I say talking about operators, so I'm asking where we are going to use this Boolean variables, in which type of operators. You are not going to use the Boolean variables in the addition, subtraction or the assignment operators. So here we are not able to use the Boolean operators. Basically if I'm going to talk about you, we are going to use this Boolean operators, in particular you can say AND operations, AND or and not operations. So these are the operators which only need Boolean values, and it will only operate when you use Boolean it will only operate using the Boolean variable. So we have three operators in Apex programming language, which will be your basically the first operator is AND, then we have OR, and then we have NOT. Now, if you have studied digital electronics a little bit, or if you study the system designing, you will familiar with what is this AND, OR, and NOT operators. Sometime when you study digital or electronics, you already know that these are the gates which was going to produce some type of information. These are going to take two inputs, either 1 or 0, which will be true or false. And based on these inputs, they are going to give you a result. So the first operator we are going to see is AND operator. But before, we are going to create two variables. So I'm going to create two Boolean variable here. Boolean, let me just first create. Okay, I think the spelling is wrong. A bool of Boolean. Okay, the right spelling will be, okay, so Boolean actually. So Boolean, and I need to create two variables. So the first variable will be simply a name like m1 m, which is going to store true. Now after Boolean m is equal to 2, I need to create one more variable, Boolean n, which will be going to false. So m will be true. Then I have one more variable, which will be Boolean n, and n will be false. Okay. So now we just simply created two variables. First is Boolean m and second is Boolean m and n. And m is true and n is false. Now we are going to use these two variables in a particular Apex programming language and its logic gates. Yes. Now in Boolean m and n, the first operator I am going to try here is the AND operator. Now what is actually an AND operator? See, AND operator is like, if you remember the AND gates, in AND gate, how many do you remember of, how many of you know about AND gates? Does anyone know about AND gates? Okay. So if you guys remember about AND gates is going to take two inputs. What it was going to take? Let me just show you first. An AND gate take two inputs. AND gate will take two inputs. The first will be 1 and the second will be 0. And according to these input, it was going to produce a result. So the logic of AND is either if you give 1 or 1, 1 and 1, then it was going to give you 1. If you give 0 and 0, 1 and 1, then it was going to produce 1. And if you give 0 and 0, then it was going to give you 1, or you can say true. Here 1 is basically true and 0 is false. If you give 1 0 or 0 1, it was going to give you false. So basically, if I talk in a simple terms, AND gate basically means you need to give two values, and if both values will be true, then you are going to work it properly. So AND gate needs two things. Yeah, 0 0 1, yes, 1 0. Yes, zeros for false and 1 for true. So what AND was going to check? AND was going to check two things. If both operations or both values is true, then we are going to come on our particular result, and otherwise not. So where we are going to actually use AND operator. So let's first see the AND operation, and then we are going to check whether it was going to work. So right now you see I have two Boolean variables, first and second, and now I'm going to create a new one more variable, Boolean variable, which will be mn and a. Now let me just create one more variable, and this will be going to empty, and this is going to Boolean a, and this is going to wait a second, this is Boolean a, and I'm not going to pass any value here. Now I have first value true, false, and now I have a Boolean variable which is not going to store anything. Now this time I'm going to perform AND operation, and I'm going to see here what was going to here, and this result is going to pop up sometime. So first of all, let's try the first thing. So here I'm going to pass a value in a, and remember this is the AND operation, so it was going to return two things, either a true or a false. That's why I created a Boolean variable a. So I'm going to pass this value inside this a. So now a will be going to perform two operations. So a equal to m, and this we are going to perform AND n. Now this is the sign of AND operators in programming language, but this is actually wrong. This is single AND. If you want to perform AND operation, you need to give at least two ANDs, m and n. Now this is going to work, m and n. Now what it was going to check? It was going to check for both conditions. But how it was going to check? First, it was going to check for m, that m is either true or false. So if m is true, then it was going to n. But if m is false, then it was not going to n, and this will be and this will not going to give anything. So first it was going to check if m is true, then it was going to n, and then it was going to give a pass a value in a true. But if m is false and n is true, then it will only check m, it is not going to n, and it will pass a value in a false. So this is what it was going to happen. So it was going to check both values, first and second. If both is true, then it was going to give us the result. Otherwise, it was going to pass a basic thing. So let's try to print here and see what we are going to get here. So system.debug, and here I want to print a. Now I have a question to all of you. What was we are going to print in a? What is the thing was going to store inside this a? Does anyone have any idea what is the value was going to store in a? Anyone have any idea? False. Very good. So if we just execute, I'm just going to execute these 3 lines. So if I click on execution part, our execution was done. And let's see the debugger console this time. So now if we click on the debugger console, here we are going to get false. Now why we are going to get false? See, the first time Boolean m is actually true and Boolean n is equal to actually false. And that's why we are going to get this. First it will going to check m, that m is true or not. So if m is true, then it was going to n. But it checks n is false, then it will return a value false inside this a. But if m is false and n is true, then it was not going to check n. It will only stop the execution till n, and it will pass a value inside it. Now if I create one more variable, let's create one more variable here this time, and this will be, let's suppose, n1. Now instead of checking n, I'm going to check this time n1, and I'm going to make it change from n1 to false to true. So now n1 is going to be false to true. And now if I execute this code, this time I'm going to get a true result. Okay, so every code was executed. Now click on the debugger console. And here we are going to get true because both values are true. Now after AND operation, we have one more operation, and the second operation is OR operation. So let me first write here that this is AND operation. AND operation. Okay, after AND operation, the next operation we are going to perform is OR operation. Now in the OR operation, it was going to go for 2 things. Either first is true or second is true. If any one of is going to be true, then it was going to pass a value true in the particular variable. If both is going to false, then it was only going to pass a false variable in this section. So both first and second is false, then it was going to give a final variable, and then it was going to give a final false. But if one of them is true, then it was going to pass true in the first thing. So let's try to do this and see what we are going to get. So let me just copy this line, the whole line actually, because it only need to change simple things. So Control C, and here we are going to perform OR operation. So instead of AND, this will be OR. And here in the place of this, we are going to use the sign of OR. And the sign of OR is 2 straight lines. So if you want to perform OR, you need to pick 2 straight lines like this, and this is going to perform OR. Now this time I'm going to perform between m, which is true, and between n, which is false. Now this time what we are going to get? We are going to get a true result. So if we click on this execution, and now if I come on the debugger section again, here you see again we are going to get true value, because OR was going to check either one of the value is true or not. So if one value is true, then it was going to give you the result. If both value is true, it was going to again give you true. But if both value is false, then it was going to give you a false result. So if I change from m from true to false, let me just do this. And if I try to execute this time, this thing, it was taking time. Okay, now the execution part done. Now here you see we are going to say this time we are going to get false, because right now m and n both are false, so we are going to get false. So in simple term, you need to remember AND is going to give you true if both conditions are true, if both Boolean variables returning true, then end is going to give you true, either it was going to give false, and or if any one of them is going to be true or true, then it was going to give true. If both of them is going to false, then it was going to give you false. After and or, we have one more operator which is not. Now I have a question to all of you. Can anyone tell me what is actually a not operator? Does anyone know what is actually a not operator? Inward. Okay, very good. Not operators place 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. Very good. So basically, not operator is the invert operator which was going to convert or to give a new type of thing, opposite. So let's try to see what is actually a not operator this time, and let's see how this thing works. So the not operator sign is different than and or. For not operator, what we are going to do, we are going to use like simply like this. Like here you can see I have m, and right now m is false. So now if I want to make m is true, what I'm going to do, I just don't need anything. So basically I'm just going to like this. Wait a second. Here I'm going to give this a. Now this a is actually this time storing false, if you see this here. So let's take this a, actually control C. Here we are going to come and paste. Now a is equal to, and we are going to give not a. And now if I want to print this thing again, system.debug. Now can anyone tell me, is this going, what was going to happen here? Should I get an error, or is this code going to work? Anyone have seen any problem in this code, or it was going to work properly? Does anyone have any answer? How many of you think that this code is going to give an error? Error. Okay. Anyone else? A is undefined. Okay. Yes, very good. Because here you see I will use minus a. Now let's try to change this. Remember, I will told you that Apex is a not case sensitive programming language. Means you can write the method and function name in small and capital letter, but the variables are actually case sensitive. So you don't going to write capital A and small a are different, because capital A and small a are same things. Now let's try to execute this and see what we are going to get. So our code was executed successfully, and now if we click on debugger only, here you see we are going to get the true answers for this section, because the last time we are going to get false and this time we are going to get true, because we perform and or not operator here. So not is basically going to convert your particular value, and the sign of not, you need to remember, it was like this. This is the sign of not operator. So let me write this, and I'm going to send you this code, not operator. Okay. Now after this we are going to see one or two more operators which is very useful, and this is very useful in Apex programming language. Define the value of a firstly. Okay, actually a was already defined here. If you see here, actually a was already defined here, boolean a. Here you can see here I'm passing the value of a this time, and this m and not. So a is already storing a variable or a boolean variable from this or operation. Now after these operators, these logic operators, now we are going to see some other operators, and these are some important operators. Now after this we have some operator which will be less than equal to, greater than equal to operators. Now these operators are very useful, because see, we are going to use these operators very much when we start learning loop, and after these operators we are actually moving to loops and conditional statements. So these are going to work for very much on loops and conditions. Now after this, the next operator we have is less than or equal to operator, and the second is greater than or equal to operator. Now let's see what is this less than or equal to, or this other operators. After this, I think you already familiar with the equal to operator. I think everyone know about equal to operator. Now equal to operator is look like this, and it was also going to return a value which is a binary value, or you can say so a boolean value. Now this value is going to give either true or false depending on the thing. So if we perform this thing, we are going to get a boolean variable. So let's see how we are going to do this. So first I'm going to pass here, writing here a new boolean variable getting. So boolean, and let's name it result. And now if you come here, you can see m and n are two variables. NN we have. So I'm going to perform result here. So now my just give me a second. Am I audible to all of you right now? Can anyone please confirm? Am I audible? Thank you very much. Actually, there was a problem due to why that's I'm not you are not able to hear me. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the next operator, which will be our basically the you can say the assignment operator or equal or you can say the double equal to operator, which was actually going to check equalities between two variables, whether it was same or it was different. So here I am going to pass result is equal to, so result is right now empty and this will be result 1. Okay, result, and now result equal to, and here I'm going to perform equal to operator between this m and n. So m equal to n. Now this is going to pass a value inside this result. So these operators, the equal to operator going to pass two things. Either it was going to pass true or either it was going to pass false. So depending on this, we are going to get our result. So result is equal to m equal to n, and this is going to give you the result simple. So now if we just simply perform these things, let's see what we are going to get. So system dot debug, and here I'm going to print result. And now if I just execute these three lines, only on execute highlighted part. Okay, line 50, column 11. Okay, so variable m is actually not Okay, I need to execute from here. Then this is going to work. Okay. Okay, now our code was executed again successfully, and let's see the debugger section. So now if I click on the debugger section, here you see we are getting true this time. Now why we are going to get true, let's see here. So here we are checking m is equal to n, and m and n both are false. That's why we are getting this thing. Also, you are able to choose and check this thing not only on binary variable but on anything. Like if you want to perform this on a string, you are also able to do this on a string or a number. So if I just change from m and n to like a number like 15, like this time I'm going to pass a number here, control X, and here I'm going to pass a number like 15 equal to 7, and now just going to use this thing. Now this time if I'm going to use this, now this time boolean result is going to work, and let's see what was going we are going to get this time here. So let's try to execute this thing, and here we are going to get again a false information, because 15 is actually not equal to 7. Now also you are able to do this on a string also. So if you want to perform the same thing on a string, you are also able to do this with a string. So how you're going to do this, first you need to create a string here, and this string you can write anything, like I'm writing just a random thing, and then the equal to operator and the new string, and here you can pass any value. Now just close this bracket, equal to, and now if we click again on execution, here we see our execution part done, and now if I click on debuggers only, here you see I'm getting false this time again. Now this is happening because we are using the equal to operator. So you are going to use the equal to operator on anything. Okay, so yeah, and equal to, yes. Now I have a question to all of you. Where do you think we are going to use the and or not operator and this equal to operator in real life application? Do you have any idea or any suggestion that in this application at this point we are actually using these things? Does anyone have any response? Anyone? Okay, I think none of you give me a real answer. Conditions, assignment. No, no, I'm not asking that. I'm asking in a real application, like tell me like this was used in Instagram at this place, or in Facebook we are using this at this particular place, or we are using in Flipkart or in Snapchat or any platform at this particular place, we are using this thing. So I'm asking in a real application where we are using this operator. Okay, very good. Passwords, we are using actually the equal to operator to match values. This very good. Password in making electric circuits, yeah. Logics, actually where we are using logics, yes, very good. We are using this gates also, very good. Okay, so two answers will be going to get correct. Okay, this was used in, see, basic answer and the best answer, we are using these operators in transactions. You are software engineer guys, you are not electronic engineers. So you need to think about a software engineer. You are using these things on transaction. Remember, equal to operator, not equal to operators, and this not operator is basically used on transactions. The maximum use of these operators was held in transactions. Either the transaction on database, either the transaction will be on happening on server end or the client end or anywhere. These operators were mostly used on the transactions. Okay, let's go to the next thing and let's see our next operators. Now, after equal to operator, we have some more operators like less than or greater than operators. So result, now we have some more operators which will be a less than operator and a greater than operator. Now, what this less than and greater than operator is going to return? So first I'm going to show you a less than operator and then see what it was going to show. So result, now I have a less than operator, and the same way I'm going to use a greater than operator here. Same way, just copy this line again, and after this just using this time a greater than operator, and let's see what these operators is going to give a result. So let's try to execute these lines and see what we are going to get. Execute highlighted, and now if I click on execute highlighted, here we are going to section on the debuggers only. Now here we are going to get false, false, true, true. So these operators less than, greater than, or equal to operator, these are also going to return a Boolean variable. Either it was true or either it was false. After these things, we have a more. Can you send the code from line number 40? Okay. So line number 40. Just here, give me a second, guys. I'm just going to send you all the codes. Okay, so these are all the codes here you can see from line number 40. Okay, now what we are going to talk next about is a very important thing in this section. Now, after seeing the less than, greater than, and these operators, now the main thing comes two operators more. Greater than operator and less than equal to operator or greater than equal to operator. The greater than equal to operator and the less than equal to operator is also same. It is not something different. So what you are going to do, the greater than operator is like equal to or greater than, and the same way less than or greater than. So these operators are very useful. Now, what is the difference between less than or greater than equal to or less than equal to? Here you can see we are saying if 5 is greater than or equal to 6. So what was going to happen? It was going to check either the number is greater than or equal to. If this condition satisfied, then it was going to give us the result. So this time you see for these two conditions we are getting false and true. But now we are going to use the greater than equal to and less than equal to operator. So let's see what we are going to get this time as a result. So our code was executed again successfully. Click on debugger section, and here you can see this time we are getting false and true for two conditions. Let's see our code and see. So first condition say either 5 is greater than or equal to 6. So both condition, in both condition this is false. So we are going to get false. The second say either 5 is less than or equal to 6. So first condition satisfy 5 is less than. That's why here you are printing 2. So these are the two more operators which will be less than operator or greater than equal to or less than equal to operator. So now these are the basic operators which we perform in Apex program. So let's first write all about this. Then we are going to talk about one of the most important operator which is going to work like loops, and this is known as ternary operator. So before moving to ternary operator, let me write all the operators which we talked till this point, and then we are going to move to the ternary operator. So the first operator we talk about here is basically we talk about arithmetic operators. Then we talk about assignment operator. After this, we talk about equal to operator, equality operators, equality. After this, we talk about logic operators, which will include your and or not, and then we talk about comparison operators. So we talk about these basic operators till this point. After this, the next thing we are going to talk about is ternary operator. Now, before going to ternary operator, let me ask some question to all of you. Now, I have a question to all of you guys. Can anyone tell me what is actually a ternary operator and what is the use of ternary operator? How many of you think what is a ternary operator? Does anyone have any idea what is actually a ternary operator? Let me just give you a simple hint that ternary operator is actually, you can say in simple terms, it was like just give me a second, guys. A shortcut of for if else, okay? Yes, in a single line we can use if else and other things. Basically, ternary operator is very useful when you don't want to use, or sometime when the condition is not, or the logic is not that much complicated. At that time, he use basically the ternary operator, and the ternary operator is very useful for these type of during this periods. So, what we are going to do and how we are going to use these ternary operators to implement a loop in a concise manner. Okay, a shortcut for if else. It is like this or that. Yes, very good. Question mark and symbol. Yes, that is very good. Ternary operator is very useful when you have a very small logic. Means you don't have a very big logic. At that time, we are using the ternary operator. Just give me a second, guys. I need to drink a water. Am I audible to all of you right now? Am I audible? Okay, thank you very much. Now, sorry. Now let's talk about the ternary operators. What are these ternary operators, and how we are going to use this, and how these operators are basically known as like loops and like the if-else condition. So basically, when we have a very simple logic and a very small logic, at that time, what we do, we don't go for loops. We just simply use these ternary operators. In the starting, it will look like a little bit tough, little bit confusing, but once you understand, you are going to use these operators as much when you're writing some condition. So let's try to perform some ternary operators here. So suppose I'm going to make a particular program a greeting program. So this greeting program was going to greet me according to the time. So if the time is like between 1 to 10 or 1 to 11, it was going to greet me good morning. If the time is between like 11 to suppose 5, it was going to give me good evening. And if it was an afternoon, and if it was the time is after 6, then it was going to give wish me evening, good evening. So further, let's start this. So first of all, for doing this, I need a string which was going to store the greeting message. So create a string first, a string, and this string is going to store a variable. You can say let's make a variable named greeting, which is going to greet me equal to, and I'm going to make it null. So right now this is not actually storing anything. So this is a null type of, you can say, string which is right now storing nothing. And now let's create a basic integer which is going to be like house. So according to that hour, we are going to perform something. So right now I'm going to create two integers. So first will be integer, and here I'm going to specify hour. So integer hour will be 10. So let me just create a hour 10. So now I have created a greeting type of variable which was right now null, and the second thing I have an integer which is right now storing 10. Now what I want actually in this program, so what I want, if hour is less than 12, so suppose if the hour is less than 12, then greeting should be good morning, else greeting should be good afternoon. So it was like if and else. So let's pass the value in this greeting. So here what we are going to do, I'm just writing here greeting, and now greeting should be equal to, and here we need to write out ternary operator. So greeting will be like ternary operator use two things, a question mark and then a double quotation. Now due using these two things, we are able to do this thing. So greeting equal to, here first we are going to put a bracket, and in this bracket we are going to write the first condition. The first condition is that if hour is this variable which we created, means which is hour, if hour is less than 12. So if hour is less than 12, what was going to happen? It was going to wish us good morning. So first you need to write your condition in a bracket, and then you need to put a question mark here. Now let me just write the question mark here. I just need to find yeah. If hour is greater than 12, if this condition satisfied, what it was going to do? It was going to wish me good morning. So good morning. Now after this, I'm going to pass one more condition. Now the second condition is if hour is not, or suppose like that, if hour is something else. So let me just try to pass like if hour is less than 12, then what was going to happen? Like here we say that if hour is less than 12, then it was going to wish good morning. But what happened if hour is greater than 12? So at that time we are going to put this two columns, and after this two columns, if this condition not match, whatever message we are writing here was going to print on the was going to pass in this greeting variable. So the next message we are going to pass is good afternoon. So here I need to pass a message good afternoon. So good afternoon. Now here you see this thing is worked, but this is not going to work because these are single lines and I need to pass a string here. So I need to first make this a string. Let's just make a string here. Okay, this is done. Okay, just make it morning, and this should be our good afternoon. Let me just copy this line actually. Okay, good afternoon, and now this part is done. Now if I print this thing and if I try to print greeting, what should I'm going to get? I'm going to get obviously good morning, because right now my hour is basically 10. So let's just try to print our greeting method and see what we are going to do. So here just calling system dot debug. Let me just, sorry. Okay, system dot debug, and here just print the information which will be the greeting. Great. Now let's try to execute this and see what we are going to get. So just trying to print only these three lines. Click on execution, and here actually I'm getting unexpected token hour. Okay, so hour. Okay, actually I don't assign here a value. Okay, hour equal to. Okay, now this should work. Okay, now our code was executed successfully here, and now if I click on debuggers only, here let's see what we are going to get as a result. So here we are going to get morning as a result. Why we are going to get morning? Because put equal to between hour and morning. Okay, Khushi, if we put equal to, what was going to happen? Let's see just our code. If hour equal to 12, then it was going to do, see, whatever condition you are going to put here, it was going to work like that. So you need to put your condition in this section, and then this is going to work like that. So right now we are specifying if hour is less than 12, then it was going to wish morning, otherwise it was going to wish good afternoon. Now after this, we have one more condition here. What suppose if hour is 30? So if hour is 13, then you just simply see, then we are going to perform, it was going to say good afternoon. So if you just change the hour from like 10 to 13 this time, and then I'm trying to execute this, it was going to wish me good afternoon. So I did, and let's see what we are going to get this time. Okay, again, this time I'm getting hour is less than 12. Let's see, equate yes. Okay, so this is why I'm getting the error. So execute highlighted. Our execution was done, and now if we click on debugger section, let's see what we get. So this time we are going to get print good afternoon. Now this is how actually ternary operators works. So how ternary operators look like actually. So this is the way of writing a ternary operator. First you need to give your condition, then a question mark that if this condition is going to fulfill or if this condition is going to satisfy, then what is the next thing is going to happen. And if this condition is not going to true, then after the first statement, you need to put a double column, double marks, and then you need to give the second statement, which is going to print. And then you need to pass a terminator to end this particular thing. Now, what happened if we try to perform a simple types of operation? Suppose you want to wish like if hour is let me give you a challenge. Suppose if hour is less than 12, you need to wish good morning. If hour is less than, suppose greater than 12, you need to wish good afternoon. And if hour is smaller, that time there was an error. Okay, yes. So now I have a challenge for all of you. Let's see how many of you are able to identify this and try to solve this question. So let me write a ternary operator challenge because we already studied too much about these particular, you can say, the basic things. Now I have a challenge for all of you. So I just written the challenge. So just give me a second. I need to show you the challenge. So okay, let me just show you the challenge actually. Are you guys able to see the screen right now? A new screen? Are you able to see the new screen? A new challenge screen actually? Okay, wait a second. Okay, right now I think you are able to see this thing. Are you able to see this? So this is your challenge. You need to solve this equation. Now if you see this challenge, in this challenge what we actually want, we specifying that if hour is greater than 12, sorry, less than 12, you need to wish good morning. If hour is less than 12 and here you can see we are using AND operator, and hour is greater than 5, then it need to wish good afternoon. Means it will be needed between these things, then it was going to wish good afternoon, else it was going to wish good evening. How many of you are able to think you are going to do this task? Okay, so let's see. I am giving you like only 3 to 4 because this was a very simple thing. So just give you a 3 minute or 2 minutes time to solve this code and send to me in the chat box. So just you have only 2 minutes of timer. In the 2 minutes, let's see how many of you are able to solve this thing using your ternary operators mind. And please don't try to use AD, chat GPT and any other thing. Just try to do it by your own self. So you have 2 minutes to solve this question. Try to solve and show me your results. No, you are not going to use if else. We are not here giving the conditions. See, if we use if else, this will become very easy. You just use if else ladder, you give three conditions like, and you just simply perform the task. You are not going to use if else, you are going to use basically the ternary operator to solve this thing. Try this and see how many of you are able to solve this thing and get the result. Okay, string greeting if hour is greater than 2. Actually, I don't say this thing. I think you are able to say this thing. Okay, guys, take this as your as a challenge for your task, which you need to complete by your no. Okay, Khush, if hour is greater than 12, wish good morning. Else, if hour is greater than 12. Okay, one of you give you the right answer. Okay. Anyone else? There is only one person who gave me the right answer. Okay, let me see some answers. I'm getting some answers. So many of you are also give me the answer. That's very good. So many of you have given the answer actually. Okay, 2 to 3 people are giving the right answer. Anyone else? Let's see. I get one more answer. Okay, I think many of you will give you the right answer. Many of you give the wrong answer. But this is very good. You all tried, and some of you will get the right answer, and some of you will get the wrong answer. Okay, one more answer. Let me see this answer. Then I'm going to show you the solution of this particular program. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, let me show you something else. Actually, I write the actually solution for all of you also. So let me show you something else. What how So here you can see I will do the same thing right now here. But this time what I did here, I will use something different. If you remember the variable, what I want to tell you here right now, I think all of you remember the date and time data type, which was going to give you the date and time. And I also told you that you need to learn some function. So now here you can see I'm using this date and time function, and here I'm being using dot now and dot hour. So these are the two things right now I'm using dot now and dot hour, which was going to give me the right time of the actually information, or you can say the this time of information, which now here you can see the time is right now here 8:31. So right now the time will be 8 here, which will be 8 o'clock right now, and here we are getting this time. So this particular method is going to pass this particular value in this hour integer. Now after this hour is going to get this value, what I'm going to do, I just simply create a method named string, and which was going to store this greeting. Now what this greeting is going to do, here you can see I have made my ternary operator. Now how you're going to make multiple ternary operator, like when you have one to more condition. Like in this example, you see we have only passing one condition. But this time we are not passing one condition, we are actually passing two conditions. So what I did here, see if you don't want to do this here, you can here just pass a simple value. Here what I did, if hour is less than 12, then question mark, it was going to push good morning. Now if this is not going, then again I put a semicolon and then I give the second question. if hour is less than 17. Here 17 is actually 5. But right now you see in this laptop, in this time section, it was going to like from 1 to 12. So it was not a 24-hour clock. It was basically a clock is like for 12 hours. So what we need to do, we need to change this 17 to what? If hour is less than 5. So if hour is greater than less than 12, or if hour is less than, right now here tell me what this was going to be. It is less than or it is greater than. Which is going to be right? Now I have a question to all of you. Which is going to right if hour is this is going to right or the other thing? Can anyone tell me which code is going to be right? If hour is greater than 5 or less than 5? Can anyone tell me? Okay. Is this right working or the second one? Okay, less than. Okay, how many of you are thinking less than? Yes, very well. Now, either hour is less than 5, then it was wish good afternoon, and then in the last, it was going to grade evening. And just simply use the system.debug to grading. Now, if I click again on execute highlighted, because I just want to print this information, and click on execute highlighted, here you see we are going to get here a message. Okay, no, actually it was not actually, okay, now it was executed. Now, if we click on here, let's see what we are going to get our message. Here you see we are going to get good morning. Now, why we are going to get good morning? Because here you see if hour is less than 12, it was going to wish good morning. And this hour was actually storing right now 8. And it is not less than 5. That's why it was also telling us that this is basically good morning. Now, if this hour stores something else, so if I just remove these things from here and pass an actual variable, like from instead of 12, if I here pass, suppose like anything like suppose 1. Now let's see what I'm going to get. Now if I click on execute this time, now let's see what we are going to get. Okay, line 68 column 9 duplicate. Okay, actually I created 2 hours already, so execute highlighted. Now if I pass a value 1, let's see this time what we are going to get our result. Again going to click on debuggers only, and this time again we are going to get this value good morning, because again hour is less than 12. And now if we pass not 12, actually we are going to pass suppose 15, then see what we are going to get. And I'm just going to change it from 5 to 17, so this is work properly. Just give me a second, I need to just copy this thing, control X, question mark, control V, execute the highlighted word, and let's see what we are going to get this time. So this time, let's see if we are passing 15, then what we are going to get. Now we are going to get good afternoon, because because 15 is not actually greater than that. So that's why we are going to get this result. Now, Pujita, Soumya, Rahul, Sarvani, Vidhi, Khushi. There are 4 persons who give the right answer. Those who don't give the right answer, I'm going to send you the code. You can see this code and try to understand these things. This is not very tough. We just simply give 2 to 3 conditions. Try to do this 1 to more times, and you are able to simply understand this, what was actually happening. Now, after this, we are going to perform here a new type of task using operators. So we completely understand the concepts of operator. Now, this challenge is a little bit tricky. Now, what is actually this challenge? Now, suppose you are 3 friends and you 3 friends go to a particular, suppose a restaurant, and you purchase something. So let me show you this challenge actually. I think I will already written this challenge somewhere. Okay. Now I think you are able to see this screen. So here you can see there are 3 friends who go to a restaurant, and when these 3 friends go to a restaurant, here is the menu card of the restaurant. If someone order 1 slice, he need to pay $8. If someone order 2 to 3 slices, he need to pay $7. If someone ordered 3 slices, he need to pay $6 per slice rate. So here we have 3 conditions. The first condition is $1 we are going to pay 8. If we have 2 to 3 slices order, you are going to pay $7. And if you order more than 3, you are going to pay $6. Now there are 3 friends. First is Ross, then second is Chandler, and then we have Joey. Now Ross ordered 3 slices, Chandler ordered 1 slices, and Joey ordered 4 slices. Now what we need to do, we need to create a particular, you can say, methods or functions which was going to calculate everyone's rate, or it was going to split the bill between every of them. But the condition is here, we are not allowed to use the if else block or the loops. So we are going to make this particular thing only by using the particular ternary operators and the other operators. Now let's try to make a program which was going to split the bill between all of them and see how this thing was going to actually work. So for making this, this is not very tough and this is very easy if we just focus on everything from line by line. So let's try to make this program and see how this program was going to create. So first we need to create 3 variables, because these 3 variables was going to store the slice or the price of the pizza. So right now I'm going to create 3 variables which was going to store the rate. So let's create 3 variables, integer, and first like slice, let's say 1. Now integer 1 slice, I'm making name 1 slice equal to, it will be 8. Okay, so I'm going to create 3 variables which was going to store the rate of the pizza slices, and this will be third. So instead of 1, this will be 3 slice, and this will be 2 3. Okay, 2 hyphen 3, 2 hyphen 3 slices, this will be named as, and this will be named as 3 and more slices. Okay, so now we have 3 variables which are storing the price of the slices. So first will be 8, 7, and 6. And now I'm going to use the final keyword to make these variables final. So this was not going to change between our program because we don't want to change these variables. So final here. Then again I'm going to make here a final variable, final. And here I'm going to also do the same thing, make a variable final. Now here I created 3 constant variables which were right now storing the price of the 3 pizza. Now we need to make a method or a function which was going to calculate or split the bill between all of them. So how we are going to do this? So first of all, we are going to create a function which was going to create the number of slices, like how many number of slices a person eat and what is the cost is going to for a particular person. So if you see, first of all, we are going to calculate the Ross amount. So let's try to calculate Ross amount and see how many slices Ross just eat and what is the bill of Ross is going to happen. So if you see, Ross actually ordered 3 slices. So first of all, I'm going to create an integer here this time, which was going to count the number of slices, because we need to also see, don't confuse here we are creating integer which has price name. So these are integers which knows the price, and now we need to create integers which was going to count the value of slices a per person order. So now I'm going to create an integer which was going to count the Ross, you can see Ross slices, integer Ross slice, and this integer initially is not going to store anything. So initially this will be 0 and we are going to pass this value when we are writing our logic. So 0, and here we need to write or calculate the Ross particular amount. So how we are going to do this? So first of all, this Ross slices is a little bit tough. Now here you can see, if I want to make like this, I need to create 3 different variables, and this will be tough. So why not I create a single variable like a global variable which I'm going to use in all of the 3 cases for calculating the bill for the Ross, Chandler, and Joy. So what I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to write here in the name of Ross to number of slices. So number of slices is my variable which is 0. And now why it was 0? Because this same variable was going to use for all of these 3. And this is how you are going to reduce the size of your program or code by doing a simple step. Now after this, let's try to calculate. Now number of slices is going to be passed a value. Now we already know that how many pieces of Ross order. So Ross order actually 3 slices. So now the number of slices will be 3 for Ross, because Ross ordered 3 slices of pizza. So now it was going to be 3. Now here we need to write our particular condition, and here come the main part. Here we are going to use the ternary operator to calculate the Ross numbers of slices, spelling wrong. Okay. What is the difference between global variable and finals? See, global variables are those variables which will be accessed by in a whole particular. Suppose global and final global variable concepts come in classes. Right now here I'm just saying that it was like a global variable, but global variable concepts come in classes. It was accessed by in the class, outside of the class, and in another class. So global variables are those variables, where final variables are those variables which value are fixed. So it was like protected, it was most secured, you can say. So final was like making a variable constant. You are able to access these things outside of the class, but it was finally means you are not able to change the value, where global variables are able to change the values also. Why are you using final? Because I'm using final keyword here because these are the values is which is constant. See, these are the prices which is constant. That's why I'm using here final variable. Anyone else? Any questions? And why I'm using number of slices? Because I want to calculate these three payments or how much they want to pay. That's why I'm using integer number of slices, a single variable, and I'm going to use this variable in everyone. So I don't need to create three different variables for three different peoples. And I'm just overriding the value every time when I just calculate the particular thing. Now after this, the next thing I need to do is we need to write the logic here. So how we are going to write the logic? So the logic is very simple. First of all, I'm going to create an integer which is going to store raws value or raws, you can say total amount, like how much raws need to be. So integer, and here this will be named as raws pay. I'm just naming his name. And now after this, we need to create our ternary operator, which is going to perform our work. So Ross pay equal to basically Ross pay equal to number of slice, copy this line. So Ross pay equal to basically number of slice, and the next thing we need to write here is comparing. So now here I see I need to compare like how many slices Ross actually ordered, because if you come here on the top, here you see there are three conditions of pays. If one slices, then he need to pay 8. If he have ordered 2 to 3 slices, then we need to pay 7. And if he ordered 3 slices, more than 3, he need to pay 6. So according to this, we need to write our logic. So here we need to first compare number of slices to every condition. So if number of slices equal to 1, so what we are going to use here? Here you see we are using actually the comparison operator. So number of slices equal to 1. So if number of slices equal to 1, then what was going to happen? Next thing. Here we are coming on the logic part. And the logic part is equal to number of slices is going to multiply by Control C. Here we need to multiply the number of slices into the first variable. And what is the first variable? Will be this thing, this one slice. It needed to multiply with this one slice. Now those who are thinking what was actually happening here, let me tell you again how this actually worked. So let me show you what this actually happening. First we created number of slices, which was right now in the initially 0. Then we passed number of slices 3 because Ross actually ordered 3 slices of pizza. After this, we created a new variable named Ross pay, and this particular variable was going to store all of the amount which was going to Ross pay. Now, in this problem, we have a condition like for every piece of pizza or slice of pizza, the rate is different. So if someone ordered one slice, he need to pay $8. If someone ordered 2 to 3, he need to pay $7. And if someone ordered greater than 3, he need to pay 6. So what I did first, I compare number of slices to 1. Either it was 1 or not. So if it was 1, then number of slices multiply by 1 slice. Here you can say 1 slice is equal to 8, which is the variable which we just created for the price of 1 slice. Now, if this condition is going to wrong, then we need to write our next condition. And our next condition is going to take the next thing. So now what is our next condition? The next condition is if the piece is becoming like, let's see here, if 2 or 3. So let's write our next code here. So let me just actually make it a little, okay. Actually it was not working properly. Number of slices equal to 1 slice. Okay, this is, just give me a second, I need to make it a little bit smaller actually, and this is actually not working properly. Just give me a second guys. A number of slices. Okay, now this thing works. Okay, actually this is not working. Okay, now after this number of slices equal to 1, here we need to write our second condition. And now what is our second condition? If number of slices, this time copy this line, is, we are going to use the less than or equal to. Now tell me which operator we are going to use. the less than equal to operator. So here we are going to use the less than operator. So number of slices is less than or equal to 3, because the second statement here is saying that the number of slices is between 2 or 3. So if number of slices is less than or equal to 3, now someone is thinking one is also come in this, but not. If one will come here, then this piece of execution will happen first and every other operator was not going to perform. But if this is going to wrong, then this line will come and then this thing is happening. So you don't need to worry like this was going to work. So this is not going to actually work, because if he have only one slice, then this is going to actually perform, not this thing. So number of slices is greater than 3, then what was going to happen? This time number of slices multiply by 2 slices, the second operator which we just simply created. So we need to write out this thing. So less than 3. Let's come here on this section and putting here a question mark. And then here we need to simply multiply here. Now how we are going to perform here multiplication? Just simply write this piece of code, number of slices multiply. And instead of one slice, what we are going to write here? Here we are going to use this statement, which will be 2, 3 slices. Copy this line and paste this 3. Now we have done our second part also. Now our second part is successfully created. Now it's time to come for our third part and the main part. Now the third and main part is going to actually calculate the final result. If he has more than 3 slices, then what was going to happen? So this time actually I don't need to write any condition. What I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to write if these two are going to happen not on, I mean if both of condition is going to false, then we have only one condition left. So we are not going to use anything. I'm just copying this line. If this is not going to happen, then the last thing is going to happen is 3 more slices multiply by the last thing, which will be multiply by number of slices. And this particular line of code is going to give us the result of a calculation, and it was going to return a value for how many money or how much money Ross needed to pay. Now this particular part of program is done. Now if we just print this thing, we are going to get our result. Okay. Okay, slices. Okay, anyone else? Okay, number of slices, we get error. Okay, let me see where we are getting error. One slice, or where I will just let me see. Actually we are not going to get error, guys, because everyone it was like written like number of slice. I will just copy this. Actually I'm not writing, that's why we are not going to get error this time. So now if we just try to execute this, we are able to find the value of Ross, like how much Ross needed to pay. So let's try to print this thing and see what we are going to get. Does we are going to get any error, and this was going to work out properly. So system dot debug, and here just parenthesis, and inside this we need to pass the value, which will be number of slice. Control plus C, and here just passing the value. And now no, actually number of, no, I need to print Ross pay actually. So control C, and instead of number of slices I need to be Ross pay, and just execute this line and see what we are going to get error. So how many of you think we are going to get an error, and how many of you are thinking we are not going to get any error? Anyone else? Anyone thinking we are going to get an error? Let me just check. Okay, this is done. Let's try to execute this. Okay, line 11, column 1, unexpected token, final. So we are getting error on line actually 11. Okay, why we are getting this error? Let me just check. Fi, let me just try to execute again. I need to check. So I'm getting this line error. Actually, I just want final integer. Let's try to remove this thing. Let's try to execute this and see if this works or not this time. Actually, I'm getting an error which I just don't understand why. Okay, I just find why I'm getting this error. Due to this, actually, we are getting error. Okay, I need to make it a little bit changes in this. Okay, this I need to remove. Okay, now this will work properly this time. Now let's try to execute this and see does this work. Okay, so it was not working because actually I don't use underscore, I use hyphen, and hyphen is not actually used in this section. So here we will get our result that Ross needed to pay $21, and our particular program will also works properly. So let's make this screen a little bit big so you are able to see all the code in a single line. Let's just make a little bit better. Okay, so this is the program you need to write here. So let's just make this program a little bit get more big. Okay, so this is the program you need to write, and this program is going to work for you, and this is going to return you the result of for this particular operation. And what it was going to give you the return, and it was going to give you the return of how much Ross needed to pay for the particular his pizza. Now, this is the very simple program. Now, if you want to print the same for everyone else, what you are going to do, you are just not going to do anything. You just need to change the number of slices to the next thing, and you just simply copy this logic and change only the number of slices, and you are going to get. Yes. Line 16 is not terminated. Line 16. Okay. So does anyone have any problem till can you explain condition again? Okay. See, what is the condition here? Let me tell you. So let me just give you the clear view of this thing, because if you understand this line, you're going to calculate everything. So first talk about the problem once again, and then I'm going to tell you how you're going to do the next thing. So first, what is the question here? The question is here that three friends go to a restaurant and they order pizza. So first friend ordered three pizza, second friend ordered one pizza, and the third ordered four pizza. When they order pizza, they see the billboard or the price board, and they found that if someone ordered one pizza, he is going to pay 8. If someone ordered 2 to 3 pizza, he need to pay $7 for each slice. And if someone ordered 3 pizza, he need to pay $6 for each slice. So these are the three conditions. So if I order only one pizza, I need to pay $8. If you order between 2 to 3 pizza, you need to pay at least. Okay. What I'm saying, okay, what I'm just give me a second, sorry. So what I'm trying to tell you is all of you is that if someone ordered like see if someone ordered more than 3 pizzas, then he need to pay $6 for 6 slices. Now, how we are going to solve this thing? So first of all, we created three integer variables: one slice, two slice, and three slice. Now these are the actual price of these pizza, like for $8, 7, and 6. So these are three variables which created for three types of prices. After this, we created a variable like number of slices, like how many number of slices a person ordered. So number of slices will be initially 0, and then we are going to count for everyone. So first I'm going to count for Ross. So how much Ross needed to pay? So number of slices is going to be 3 because Ross ordered 3 pizzas. Now here comes the logic part. Now what is this logic part actually? So first we created a variable Ross pay because this variable was going to store the amount. Now the logic say if number of slices is equal to 1, means this part is equal to 1, and here you can see we passed 3 here because Ross ordered 3. So if it will become equal to 1, then what we need to do, we need to multiply number of slices into one slice, means this equation, because one if someone order one slice, he need to pay $8. Now if you come to the second equation, second condition, the second condition say if number of slices is less than or equal to 3. Now you have thinking that 1 is also less than equal to thing. So so then the program will also execute this thing. No, this was not going to execute this line, because when you are executing ternary programs or ternary operators, the first operator, when the first operator was executed, then it was not going to check these operators. It means if the first operator was executed successfully, then these things was not going to be compared. These are going to ignore, and this value was going to pass here. But if first was not going to execute it, then it will come to the second. Now, when it comes to second, it will check if someone ordered less than or equal to 3. So if this is not happening 1, means the number of slices is right now not 1. Now it was going to check, is this greater than or less than 3? So if this will satisfy this condition, then what was going to happen? The number of slices multiplied by 2 to 3 slices, because here we say this is less than 3. So if someone ordered 2 to 3 pizza, he need to pay that much. So that's why here we multiplied 2 to 3 slices. After this, suppose this is not 3, this is 5. Now if this is not happened also, then it need to come to the last condition, and we have the last amount. If someone order greater than 3 pizzas, then he need to pay $6 for every slice. So what we did for the last, we say 3 more slices means the last variable multiply by number of slices, and we will get the price. And we just simply store the value in rows p, and then we just simply print. Does anyone have any doubt till this point? Does anyone have any doubt till this point? Anyone have any doubt till this point? Okay. So right now, guys, I'm just sending you the code here. Try to write the two logics more, which will be you need to write for the Zoe and Chandra to calculate their prices. So try to write their logics and see what you are going to get. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, that's good for all. Let's meet tomorrow, and from tomorrow onwards, we are going to start our controls, or you can say control statements. So we are going to talk about loops and different types of control statement like if else and for and other loops which was found in Apex programming language. So this is for all today. Let's try to perform this particular task which I told you, to create two more logics for calculating the other two things. This is attendance for all of you which was sent in the chat box. Please take your attendance. Jayant, I think I already sent you the code. Let me send it once again. Okay. Do you guys get this code? Okay. So try to write the third logic by your own self and see what you are going to get. Amar sir?
Ah, yes, sir. Yes, we'll wind up for the day. Vijit, you can refer the recording on day one, where you have to mark your attendance, and I can read your chat. Not required to copy paste message 6, 7, 8 times. Okay, so students, I shared the attendance link into the chat box. So if anybody missed on that, please mark your attendance and share your valuable feedback about the session. We'll see you tomorrow at same time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, students.